Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Venture Party.
So Venture Party is our new fantasy card game that we're developing. I am George Rottkamp. I'm the illustrator. Erik Fox Jackson up here is the designer for the game.
Hello.
And then we've got Diana, who gave that amazing intro, and Dan. And we're all going to have a fun game of Venture Party. But it's not going to be so fun for all the lovely little characters in the game because they're going to suffer a terrible fate.
You mean like me?
Yes. So let's get rid of this stuff. Actually, I'm gonna load there. So we got the logo with the Kickstarter icon up here. And by the time that this is on YouTube, the game should be on Kickstarter by that point. So go take a look.
Alright, so George, you deal and you go first. We always start with one loot in the pot, and you want to end the game with the highest cards. The cards go up to 16, and the lower cards repeat. The higher cards have better powers, but you might not necessarily want to use them because you want to end the game with those. So it's a little bit of a crapshoot. You got to kind of figure out where you want to go with it. So everyone starts with one loot, and like I said, there's loot in the pot. George, you go first because the law.
Okay. So whenever it's your turn, you have to draw up to a total of 3 cards. So I'm going to draw a card. And then I am going to play the Tenacious Telepath, who gathers all the loot in the dungeon and is crushed by it coming together. So I have to take the loot pot. And there's only one loot in the pot, so I'm just going to take
the
that.
The loot pot is effectively like the dungeon floor where all the loot falls when people die. So you're collecting all the loot from the dungeon floor.
Just remember that whenever someone takes the loot pot, there always needs to be one on the floor, so make sure you add one.
All right, Diana, it's your turn, right?
Yeah.
So we're moving counterclockwise, but I guess that's just how we decided to do it, but you could do it however you want.
And you don't always need a person named George to start
reasons.
also.
Okay, so I use the foolhardy explorer. He finds cursed loot. The explorer humbly suffers the curse on the team's behalf. I appreciate it, my friend. I take one loot from the bag.
Not the bag.
But not the whole bag, but just one. Oh no, I put one of mine away. So,
and then you steal the bag again.
It's not like I'm taking it. Thank you.
Hey, where's that bag going?
Alright, so it's my turn. Alright, let me look through these cards here. Alright, I guess I'm going to play the Pack Mule. Is caught by monsters because the loot is slowing him down. Add your loot to the pot. So I'm going to add my one measly to the pot. Alright, Dan, it's your turn.
Indeed it is. Time to draw the best card in the world. And that card is this one. The Naive Priest. I think I'm doing everyone else a favor by discarding my worldly possessions. And that means I'm adding this guy right here. Boosh.
So now whoever starts the game, they would always get another coin added to the loot pot, just to make it a little bit more enticing.
Okay. So now it's back to my turn, so I'm going to draw. And I'm going to play the Charismatic Bard, who convinces a player to hand over their loot, and does so with no escape plan, so they end up killing him anyway. So I steal 2 loot from one player, and the only player with loot other than myself is Diana, so I'm sorry, I'm taking your loot.
There's 2 pieces there, just so you know.
Right.
What, you didn't want my empty wallet? Come on, man. I thought you had class.
Okay, so I'm going to play the Drowning Scout. Look at that detail. She's really drowning. That's a fear of mine, actually. The scout uncovers some underwater treasure, but can't surface in time. Them's the breaks. Take 1 loot from the bag.
Best she wish she went for
Not
her
the
scuba
bag.
certification.
I bet she did. Man, CPR, man. Learn it. Live it.
Alright,
Live
so
it.
it's my turn there. Alright. I'm going to play play this card here, the Nihilistic Druid. It's okay, man. I'm sure it's somewhere. He forgets the loot, you forget his life. Add your loot to the pot, and luckily I have no loot to add to the pot, so I'm in the
A
clear.
winner is you. Hey, who did that?
Yeah.
That's going back to skull mode.
So, Dan, it's your turn.
Indeed it is, and I am going to do what no one else did yet. I am going to play the Overzealous Enchanter. No mana left after tricking the monsters into gathering all the loot, but I am still going to take the loot. The loot pot is mine.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm really just
mine.
savoring the fact of doing this slowly.
The loot pot always has to have 1 piece of loot, but also because it's George's turn and he started the game off, there will be another piece of loot left.
And then because I'm me, all the loot will become skulls.
Alright, so I'm going to draw my card. And we are going to play the Berserker. Screaming and frothing at the mouth, he rages a teammate out of existence. Blindly choose a player's card to discard. So I am going to blindly pick this card from Erik.
No.
To discard it. Which is actually another type of card that you could erase someone's card.
I was going to
So-
get you back, and then I was like, he's taking that card.
All
Alright,
right.
friend, I have you covered. Maybe.
Right, so it's my turn right now. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to play The Foolish Beastmaster, which is actually a good show. Have you guys ever
Beastmaster?
seen
That's what I was
Beastmaster?
saying to George.
Yes, with
I
the
was saying to
ferrets.
George when we were drawing it, I was like, I've never seen the show Beastmaster, but you should make this person look like Beastmaster.
It was so good. Beastmaster was so good. With
I don't
little
know.
ferrets.
I don't think I took that
No,
advice,
you
actually.
did-
I
you
think
didn't,
I just...
You didn't. I even, like, it was passive advice. It wasn't, like, yeah, it wasn't real advice. I think you knew it wasn't real advice by the fact that I said, I don't know what this person looks like, but make them look like this person. Alright, usually the game doesn't take this
So the
long.
foolish-
Usually it only takes about 15 to 20 minutes. But,
Yeah, we're just talking.
We're awesome
We just
like
enjoy
that.
the convo. Yay! So the Foolish Beastmaster enlists bears to gather all the nearby loot. The bears are hungry. After all of the work, take the loot
Bear
pot.
stuff, bear stuff, bear stuff,
So-
bear stuff, bears.
This is mine. Gracias. And once again, there always has a piece of loot right there. And it's your turn.
Alright. I'm going to draw 2 cards because if you are missing a card at the beginning of your turn, you always draw up to 3 cards. So I'm back up to 3 now, and I'm going to play this card, the Mounted Rogue. He rides in and snags a player's loot. At least his steed makes it back alive. He steals 2 loot from 1 player, so let's see. George, you give me 2 loot here. There was this enticing purple hand circling over. Alright.
George,
This is like unintentional teamwork. No, it's totally intentional teamwork, I guess.
don't worry, George. We're now a team. I was gonna help him, but since they teamed up against you, I'm gonna help you.
Oh, damn. Alright.
And the way I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna make you. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that one. I'm gonna play this. The Excitable Illusionist scares off an enemy team, but I have a heart attack in the process because I am really weak-willed. So I'm making you redraw your cards.
Wah, wah.
You know what you should do? You should take a bear with the heart
I
attack.
should, or he should, but he really doesn't have any. It's the wrong time era for modern medicine.
Well, I'm just saying, like, in the future.
Oh, in the far future, I mean, how many
anyone that
years
comes
we
around,
gotta
just
wait
say,
for
hey,
that?
chew a bear.
I ended up with some real great cards in this deal, so thank you, Dan. You're a pal. You're
exactly.
a real pal.
He's generous.
All right, George.
Now, George,
that's you.
just decimate him again.
You add one to the loot pot, right?
All right. So,
Okay.
right, we're gonna add one to the loot pot because we just went around again.
And then Dan's gonna flip it.
You know what?
I'm gonna draw. And I am going to steal 2 loot from a player with the no good gnome. The gnome steals all of another
I
player's
see what
loot,
you're doing.
then tries to steal all of
You already
yours.
teamed up against him.
But he doesn't succeed. Steal 2 loot from 1 player.
He has 4.
Well, I'm gonna take my loot back from Eric because he took it from me earlier.
Okay,
Womp
gotcha.
Alright. I see how it is, George.
This is how you start little friendly rivalries.
Okay, so I'm going to use the Not So Subtle Spy. Makes it back to camp with loot before it becomes completely burned to a crisp. Steal 2 loot from 1 player.
Notice the bucket of water that no one's using to put him out.
Yeah. You know what? That's like anti-Luigi and Mario. He's just like, yeah, just give me the money. You can
Notice
die.
that one of them also has the blue overalls with the red shirt and the mustache.
And one
Yeah. I guess it was slightly inspired by like Mario/Luigi looking people.
Right. So then I take the ones from
Oh,
you.
you're taking my loot.
She can't take
Okay.
mine. So.
Yeah.
Not with that attitude.
I know, yeah.
She could pretend.
I'll pretend I have.
Make believe.
Alright, it's my turn. I draw a card. And. Alright, let's see. I'm going to play this card, the Slippery Sorcerer, and I'm going to teleports away with 1 player's loot. His bad planning gets him stuck. I'll steal 2 loot from 1 player, and that player is going to be George.
Yay, I'm broke
back.
again.
Time.
We're gonna fight for that
what
loot
the hell
this
are you
entire
doing, man?
game.
I see that. Booch. Ah!
No, see, you guys gotta fight for your right to venture party.
You'll never win.
Good one.
Alright.
Okay,
yes,
that's
I made
all.
it funny.
Drawing a card. Oh, look. I am going to... You know what? I'm going to forsake all my allies, and... Hey, George, I'm going to play a blind monk. I'm going to go and swing in and pray and it hits you in the face. And it actually went better than expected, so blindly choose a player's card to discard. I am going to choose... this guy.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yes! Of course he would. He was channeling his brewer.
I'm channeling my inner alcoholic.
That's funny because Dan manages to always get the brewer, and he stole it from you. Like he knew it was his rite of passage to take that back from you.
Yeah.
I was thinking of using it. And this card's actually a lot of fun to use because you collect everyone's cards and then blindly redeal it and hope that it works out. Doesn't always, but it's a fun card. Alright, so my turn. So we are lapped around the table once again, add 1 loot to the pot, and I'm going to take 2 cards to draw up to 3. And I have a stellar hand right now.
What I do?
So I'm just gonna add my loot to the pot with the gambling pirate who gambles away all of the loot. But for some reason, I don't have any loot, so I don't know what they're talking about.
Well, maybe you're just a bad
They're
pirate.
I
still
just
mad,
died for
though.
no reason.
I mean, you might be a bad pirate, but I guess at least we know you.
Yeah, I guess. So he dies for pretty much no reason right now.
Pirate's life for me.
Okay.
Arg.
Arrgh. Okay, so I'm gonna do the Overwhelmed Oracle. While trying to foresee the future, the Oracle has a telepathic aneurysm. Look at 1 player's hand. So I choose you, Eric.
I got some real good cards. You're about to get real jelly. And don't think I forgot which ones they
I
are.
wonder what they are.
You're trying to trick me.
They're so good, you guys have to watch out. Eric's gonna
Oh,
win.
man.
Not to give away my hand or anything.
Looks like Solid Snake is chiming into the game.
Yeah, right.
So it's your turn, Eric.
Oh, yes, it is my turn. Okay.
Oh, thanks, Dan, for organizing my coin.
No problem. I'm nice like that sometimes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I'm going to play the Accidental Alchemist. I'm going to, she figures out how to make loot from lesser resources, and she dies with a secret. Take one loot from the bag. So I'm just going to take one loot here, and
See, I
And
don't
I'm
know the
gonna flip it.
secret. What is it?
she dies with the secret, so you'll never know.
And that means I will draw. And who here has a good hand?
Definitely not me, and I'm not lying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
he's been saying that, so I'm going to try and hook up with him and play this charmer here.
Ooh.
And I'm going to seduce him and cause
He's gonna hook
turmoil.
up.
So I'm going to combine our hands together, and then I get to choose who gets what.
All right, let me flip them over here, and then you can combine them.
Combination.
Combine them.
There we go. All right. Somehow I'm going to end up with worse cards.
You're going to end up with this guy. And this guy. And that's what you get.
Thanks, Dan.
No problem, friend.
Oh,
And now we add one loot to the pot because George is now doing his thing. If I can actually grab loot out of the bag.
I got it.
Okay. Turn it back into skull loot, and we're good to go.
Alright, we're gonna take one loot from the bag with the Oblivious Conjurer. She conjures heavy loot with no regard to where it lands or her own safety. So she gets crushed, but I get to take one loot from the bag. I finally have
And
loot
it's the wrong
again!
loot. Now it's the right loot. Oh, what are you doing?
He spoke
there
too
we go.
soon.
Ah!
Okay. So I'm going to play the Reckless Engineer. She builds a machine to loot the entire dungeon. She is trapped inside as it overheats. Take the loot pot. I'm telling you, man, they make it tough for women.
She became an engineer, at least. That's something really good for women.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's pretty
It was
awesome.
flipped. My plan has failed.
She got it anyway.
Alright, so it's my turn here.
Is there something still under there? Why is it? Oh, okay. It was just like doing a little dance.
It's
Alright,
happy, and here's music from my DJ.
I remain with good cards here. Let's see.
The best.
Eric's winning.
Real. Alright, so I'm going...
I mean, we don't know. He could be bluffing.
No, he's
Yeah, no,
really
she
winning.
does know. Actually,
Actually, I
everyone
know
here
even
knows
better.
except for you.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
George.
That's so true.
Alright, so
Yeah. I'm totally in the
I
dark.
played the Clumsy Trapper, finds loot but forgets to inspect the room for traps. Take one loot from the bag. So let me grab that loot there. Plop.
Oh,
Let me flip
no
it
one
before Dan
Ever
cries.
actually put the loot into the pot.
I'm not gonna
Oh, yeah.
cry, I'm just gonna
We forgot to
angrily
put
rage
one
at
loot
you.
back
Come
in
on,
the
man.
pot.
Yeah, that was actually me. My bad.
Alright,
Time for me to draw. Boosh.
We're getting close to the end
So
of the deck.
I am kind of worried now because I've kind of been messing around with people a lot. So I'm gonna play this courageous cleric. I mean, what I gotta do is I gotta protect myself. So I keep him in front of me for a round, and y'alls can't do jack to me.
protect your neck, bro.
Y'alls.
I mean, yeah, got me some body armor.
So basically, you're safe till the end of the game because there's only a couple cards left
I
in the
might have
deck.
had a slight
Yeah,
plan
basically.
here, but who knows?
He also might not have, and he's like owning up to it right now. He's like, yeah, I did that on purpose.
We'll never know, will we? Here's the thing, though. I call it alcoholic planning. I might not have thought it out in advance, but it happened.
So I already put the coin in for you as well.
Okay, cool. So I
This
am
is
gonna
a coin.
play.
Now it's coin.
Strategy.
I am going to, just because I'm nervous too. I'm
Oh,
gonna
snap!
play the overly loyal squire, she sacrifices herself for the team. So I keep her in front for a round to protect myself from negative effects. So you guys can't do anything to me till the end of the game. So let's see how this plays out.
Wow, Eric, too bad there's only like 2 of those.
Imagine there was 4 and we just all played them right now.
Oh.
Alright, Diana, your turn.
Stupid!
She looks
She
troubled.
can't do anything to half of us.
Oh my god!
She got something she wants to use, but she'll never be able to use it now.
I wonder what she
don't
has.
want
You can make house rules, so when Diana stalls too long, you can make a house rule that she can only stall for about 30 seconds of drama. So
You know what? I'm sorry, Eric.
I asked for it.
There was no choice.
No, actually, and that works out
I'm so
well.
sorry.
That works out well. Because
So wait, we gotta read what the card is,
sorry.
Eric.
Oh yeah, let's get...
So, the demolitions expert. At least she claims to be an expert. Remove 1 player from the game with fumbling fiery force. They lose. And while they do lose their life, I get the muns.
Yep. So anyone you destroy or take out of the game, you take all of their loot.
Alright, and that works because I can show this dynamic, so it's my turn now, and I can get back in the game. So in the actual game, you would use one of these loot tokens, and there's the loot side and the skull side that that he loves so much.
Skull power corrupts absolutely.
The loot side would indicate that you would get back in the game, and the skull side would indicate that you die. But and you would flip it twice. So if you get the skull once in that, you would not get back in the game. Unfortunately, we don't have that. So with this, we'll use the coin, and heads will be the loot side, and tails will be the death side. So I'm going to flip to try to get back in, and I'm already in. So Dan, to you.
Draw a card.
And so...
Now that my turn's over, this guy
card that you
dies
had?
because, well, my turn's over. He's not a very effective cleric.
Ooh, the numbers have changed now, Dan. Now you are unprotected for a turn.
I know. So what I'm going to do
Oh, that's true. If
is
George attacks him.
I don't think I can attack.
I'm just going to take the loot pot while I can. All I can do. Ichi. Knee.
With the time mage. Stopping time for everyone except himself.
There always has to be a coin. And because it's also George's turn, there's another one.
This is also the last turn of the game, so my overly loyal squire goes back in the discard pile, because she no longer has a purpose, unfortunately. So I'm going to take the last card. Hey, who flipped my card? Hey, come on. You gotta let the game end sometime.
He's like, the game can never end.
Alright.
Respect my authority.
Alright, so I kind of have no choice in this matter, but
Play all
no!
the cards at the same time.
I'm going to play the ambitious halfling, who after looting the whole dungeon, she is crushed under the weight of the loot. So I get to take the loot pot. And with that is the end of the game. So now we have to total up the scores from our current parties, as well as the loot. And we will find out who is the strongest.
Wow.
Who has the strongest party.
Okay, well.
And
I'll have you know, the 14 that I had to kill Eric with, I had that the whole time. And I either had to use a 12, which is the Necromancer, and then discard both of my good cards.
Okay.
Yeah, because I would have to discard the Necromancer and another card in order to get a new card.
So I've got a total of 20.
I've got a total of not winning.
Dan...
Well, actually, I could have done that too.
Dan has a total of, you have 8 with your cards, and then you have...
14.
So you have 14. And
Has
Diana...
Has
All she does
28
is
in
Let's
win,
see what she's
cards.
got.
no matter what.
She's got 28 in cards and then 13 in loot. So that's 41, right? So
And then
I think
what happens is, because I'm a pirate, I'm gonna do this. And that.
What?
Yeah. You know what I could have done? I could have done the necromancer, gotten rid of the demolitions expert, and got the charmer. And then that would have been 31.
you know what else you could have done?
And then I didn't have to kill
You could've-
Erik at all.
I tried to flip
Well,
the table.
unfortunately, he's not. Unfortunately, he didn't
Yeah, I
make it
didn't
out of the
make it
dungeon
anyway.
alive.
Yeah.
He's kind of like.
I mean, I still would have won. It would have been overkill. But the 3 coins
I
that I
don't know,
got
you don't
from
seem to
Erik,
have any coins or cards over there. I think I won.
Yeah.
Well, it's because you snagged them.
It's not my fault I'm a good thief.
Okay, so if you guys enjoyed our little playthrough of Venture Party, you could head over to facebook.com/ventureparty, where you can check out any new updates or artwork that we upload regularly. And you could also go to Kickstarter.com and look up Venture Party on there so that you could either back it, share it, or support us in any way that you can. So thank you guys so much for watching. I had a lot of fun. How about you guys?
You had a blast,
I don't
as
even like
always.
this game anymore. I made it.
Support us.
So,
I'll take that.
and with that, we're going to end where I'm going to allow the table to be flipped. So who wants to flip the table?
Too bad.
I think we all did. that was a joint effort.
As it falls into infinity.
And beyond.
I love how anytime you mention the table can be flipped, it's like immediately flipped before you get those words out.
So, thanks a lot, Erik, Dan, and Diana. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, same here. Thank
I
you.
did too. Bye!
Until next time!
Yes, bye!